Hi everyone, welcome to another week's video. Long time no see. I hope you were still here following me. I have a good few weeks being sick, so I wasn't able to record, unfortunately. So that's the reason why I've been out for longer than usual. But I have something very nice and exciting to share with you today. A pile of new vintage books, which I hope you will appreciate as much as me. I have been doing some reorganization of my corner here where I keep my art supplies, and I realized there were many art supplies in good state that I was not using, and I thought they would be better enjoyed by someone else, so I put them for sale on Vinted. I don't know if you're familiar with Vinted. It's an app where you can sell things online, used things, and buy used things. It's basically the gist of it. And it just arrived in Ireland last year, so I gave it a try and I sold some of my art supplies there, among other things. And with the credit that I had for the sales, part of the credit I used to buy some new vintage books, which I'll be sharing with you now. But before I start, as usual, I'd like to thank everyone that has been following me, that is still here, watching my videos, commenting, using my links. All of these I really appreciate. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. It really helps the channel. I have lots of interesting things I want to be sharing in future videos, so keep an eye open. Hit that notifications button as well if you haven't done so, so you will be up to date with the content. So without further ado, let's start. All of the books that I'll be sharing today came from France, so they are in French. This one in particular is about birds, as you can see, and it's a book that is dedicated for decoupage and collage and all things of the sort. I didn't buy it to do that. I would like to use it as inspiration for paintings maybe. And yeah, I found that they're beautiful images. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so you can see better. So yes, you have the beautiful images of the birds here, and then you have the names, and all of the pages, they have white backing, so you can cut if you want. I will be keeping the book this way and using it from time to time to do some studies maybe. So yeah, as you can see, it has lovely vintage style illustrations. I really love this type of books, these old style illustrations, natural history books, and fortunately Vinted is full of them and they are really reasonably priced, so I was able to get all of these books for very little. Some of them have issues, like this one, the person that owned it before had started cutting, so I was not aware that there was this, but I mean, I will still use it. I would rather have the book intact, of course, but I paid very little for this book. I think it was around €3 or so. So yeah, I'm very happy with the images themselves. They have very lovely natural history type of illustrations. I have another page here that has already been cut, and the person included the cuts here, so I may use this one for something since it's already cut, but I'll be keeping the rest of them here in the book. I don't know about you guys, but getting a book like this, I don't know, I don't have the courage to cut it, even though it's made for that. I find it so pretty to have also the names and everything. I think it's a lovely source of inspiration and reference, you know, to do studies. So yeah, I was happy with the book despite the cuts that I showed you before. And here you have some instructions on how to do the collage if you want. Has all the name of the birds in alphabetical order. So yeah, that was Les Oiseaux d'Audubon. A very nice book. The other one I got was this Cahiers de Dessin Les Fleurs. It's a book with black and white illustrations of flowers. Is also to be used as references here, says to be embroidered or to paint. So I thought this was a good reference as well. Sometimes you don't know what to do or to paint, so it's an interesting one. Here you have some examples of how to use the designs for embroidery. Some lovely embroidery. It has the materials you would need. And yeah, here you start having the drawings, and they're all in black and white, which I think it's good because you can use these to trace from if you want to copy exactly as it is, and then you can use whatever color scheme you would like. You can try different color schemes for the same image as well. I could, for example, photograph this and then go on the iPad and try different color schemes to figure out what I would like best for a painting. So yeah, I think it's very graphic as there's all sorts of flowers, different sizes. It has the names as well. So at the same time, you can learn a little bit about botany as you are practicing your drawing or your painting or your embroidery. I thought that was a great idea to have it in my little collection of vintage books. You can see here there was only this page that had some markers applied to it, but apart from that, the rest of the book is in good condition. You have lots and lots of flowers. Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. And then I have a series of books. I got all of them from the same seller. I think maybe it came from someone that was really interested in painting folk art, which I absolutely love. So I was very happy to find these books that I didn't know before. They are all in French, like I said. And yeah, the first one is this one called Patterns of Popular or Folk Art, Popular Art in Europe. So it's so it says here it's could be between 1988 and 1991, and talks a bit about folk art, the type of patterns, and the materials like the compass and the ruler, and yeah, how to paint and all of that. And then you come to the images. That was the part I was more interested in. Like I said, I really love folk art, and I know that folk art has differences from region to region. So I was happy to have a book with reference for folk art different from what I've seen before. I have some books that have motifs more like Western Europe or Northern Europe, like Danish or Nordic type of patterns, and these ones look a bit more vintage, and yeah, it's really like reminds me of this hand painted wood. For example, I noticed that this seller had quite a few books also on painting on wood, so it's it makes sense that this book has also this type of patterns. It's clear someone interested in this type of techniques. and it has many different things, which I find also great to use for practice. You know, you could paint different borders with different patterns like this, with watercolor or gouache or even colored pencil. You see, and here I hadn't noticed before, but there are the indications of the country. So here, for example, it says it's Turkey, Islam, it says here, Byzance. So yeah, Roman, Etrusc, Greece, classical Greece. So yeah, I wouldn't say countries, maybe more regions. So Albania, Bulgaria, the former Yugoslavia, Italy. So yeah, it's a very comprehensive book. I hadn't noticed before. I just read now that there are the indications of the regions. It's written like almost like a pencil writing. So yeah, it's a very interesting book if you're into this type of naive style, folk art style, which I definitely am. And I'll for sure try to reproduce some of the patterns that are in this book. I got very lucky to find these books on Vinted. They're all printed in France, so it's not a type of book that you would find in many languages easily on the bookshops. It's also quite old, and I have a thing for vintage books. You may have noticed it before. I had a previous video where I was sharing some other vintage books I got online. I'm gonna leave a link here if you're interested in watching that. Pretty stoked to have this. I think it's good to have inspiration from different time periods as well. So yeah, it has some explanations here about all of the images, the regions mentioned, so you can also learn a little bit about it. And this was Motif d'Art Populaire, and yeah, I think there are other books also from this collection. If I'm not mistaken, the seller had another one also, maybe on about painting on wood. Then I got also these two from the same seller that are equally about folk art. So this one is about basically patterns from Provence, and you have here the introduction: flowers, bouquets, trees, fruits, birds, cicadas, butterflies, and symbols. So you have a bit of introduction here, talking about the patterns. Then there's some tips about painting these patterns, and then we start with flowers and bouquets. So here you can see they start with the outline and then adding more and more details, and then the full composition. Then have variations. Here the same, you have flowers, color variation, another pattern, and how to use it. You see, it teaches you how to build the pattern, and then different repetitions and variations. Really looking forward to painting things like that, and I find very relaxing to reproduce this type of thing in watercolor. You have here one of this very simple two-color, red on yellow. You could try yellow on white or yellow on beige, like here, blue on white. The possibilities are endless, really. And I find this very rich of ideas. Love this type of folk art as well. Here another type of motif or pattern inspired by Chinese patterns. So as you can see, it gives you also ideas of how to do the composition and like a border or spread around the page. The drawings of the patterns, like the one I showed in the beginning. And then I go to trees, which I love. I really like this section. I like trying to come up with different ways to draw and paint trees, and I find this very lovely. Look at this, how nice it is. Different types of folk art trees. If you take a look on my Instagram, you'll see I am not really into doing realistic art. I like this type of illustrative art, so I find this all very charming and inspiring, and I will be certainly looking at this book to practice. And I think that when you practice new things like this, you can reproduce, copy, try different things, and then it kind of gets incorporated in your own style of painting. You know, you'll start making little changes or trying new things here and there, and that's how you end up creating your own style. So yeah, here you have like form variation. It's really lovely. I try researching if it was a collection with different regions, and I would like to know if there's others, but I couldn't find much so far. I'll keep on looking. Love this tree, very nice. I've always been on the lookout for books about folk art, but I usually get the first results I get are the books that I already own. So I was stoked to get this one and the one that I'll share with you after. Look at lovely birds. And you can always reproduce them using different color schemes. I'm sure if you did, for example, this one with the doves, and you used, instead of white and blue, you would use a, I don't know, a yellow background with neon pink pigeons, or doves, sorry. It changed the whole thing, you know. So you can play around with it, you know. You can use it as a source of inspiration. And yeah, it's a lovely reference to have. You have this type of paisley pattern, flowers, very nice. I'd love to do this, try to do this with a brush and some watercolors. Then you have color variation here, how to draw the patterns using a ruler and a compass. So yeah, some more patterns. So this was the patterns from Provence, really lovely book. And the next one, which, yeah, it's the same collection, you see, the La Passion des Motifs. So I need to check what other regions there are, if there are any. And this is from Savoie in France. It's interesting also to see the differences, even though both books are French. You see that the patterns are different. So this one's more geometrical. You'll be using more the compass and the ruler to do this type of patterns. This one was painted using colored pencils. It almost looked like something out of nature that you would have cut across. This one, for example, looks a bit like things you would find in architecture or in metalwork. This one reminds me of candy or a beach ball. Very lovely one also, with a flower and a heart variations. Very intricate, look like woodwork. Interesting also to practice. For example, if you are painting with watercolors, it would be interesting to practice value. So like in this case, use only one color and change the quantity of water to paint the different areas with different values. Like this one as well. You can also paint white on a dark surface. Now looking at this, I would think maybe even if you don't have like a dark paper to paint on, you could also take a watercolor paper, paint a very dark wash, or maybe 2 washes of a very dark color, and then come on the top with white ink or white gouache. That's an idea as well. Here's another example of monochrome. They all look like woodwork. This is the this motif is also in Anna Victoria's book. I'm not sure of the name now. I'm gonna put here when I'll be editing, but yes, this motif is definitely in Anna Victoria's book as well. And here it teaches you how to produce this pattern using a compass. This one teaches you how to produce these stars. So you can see this one, for example, there's way more geometrical patterns than in the previous one. Very interesting. Lots of hearts. Have lovely pattern here with many elements. Different patterns with crosses. These ones look a bit like coat of arms, a rope. I mean, living in Ireland, there's a lot of patterns over here also. The Celtic patterns, they look very complex. I tend to get a bit to lose interest when the pattern is too mathematical and there's too many things involved, like measuring and calculating and tools and stuff. But from time to time I try them anyways, just draw them and just to practice painting value with different colors or different color schemes. This one is a bit more organic with flowers. This one also with the heart. I see the heart is very present in these patterns. This one is a bit more on the lines of the previous book. Vintage style. Has some interesting color schemes as well, so you're not only learning about the type of patterns, how to build them, the variations, but you also see the type of colors that they were using in these patterns. Different types of flowers. Here talk about color variation. And now we get animals, which is also something I really like painting. So we have birds, variations. So you see something like that you could easily do with markers as well. Very stylized hair, looks like. Yeah, so this was the patterns from Savoie. And now I'm gonna go back closer to show you the last 2 books that I got. These 2 books here I really loved. I bought them from separate sellers and I hadn't noticed until I received them that they are by the same publishing house, and they are you will see they are the same style of book. I really love this style of book, and I found that there are many in this collection, so I'm still on the hunt for others to join these two here because I really love them. So the first one I got is this one called Petits Animaux des Bois et des Champs, which is little animals from the woods and the countryside. And you'll see there's even something written here, and this I believe is from the 60s. And here you have, for example, a list of other books in the collection. And then is this type of book, natural history, where you have lots and lots of illustrations with numbers, and then you have the names down below. So you have a lot of insects. I know it's not for everyone. Some people get a bit, I don't know, have icky feelings of looking at things like that. I always loved looking at this type of book since I was a kid. My family, they had some books with images like that, and I loved browsing through the images and look at the different animals and the information. So when I saw the images of this book, I knew I would love to get my hands on it. So I'm so happy that I got it, and for a really good price as well. So I have butterflies and moths, and yeah, many different insects. And I really love the style of this type of illustrations. There's something about natural history books, vintage natural history books, that I find very appealing and charming. And yeah, even if it's just to look through out of curiosity. I have loads and loads of insects. I'm gonna try to be a bit faster. I have the ladybug. Even ladybug has a lot of variation. And I have to say this one was in very good shape. All the pages are still attached. Sometimes you buy vintage books and they are falling apart, unfortunately, but this one was in very good condition. So yeah, you have all sorts of images related to insects and caterpillars, bees, you know. Then spiders, which I'm terrified of, even though I don't kill them, but I don't want them anywhere near me. So I gently remove them from the house and bring them outside. And yeah, I have snails and their little houses. I have plants with insect eggs, I believe, which is very interesting. More insects. And then at the end of the book you have all the explanations about every single image that you have, as you can see here. So all those numbers, if you want to have more information about a specimen in particular, you come here and you check the text. Of course, like I said, it's all in French, and you have also a list of animals in alphabetical order here at the end. So I'm really happy to have this little book. I don't have a lot of reference books in insects. I have one with butterflies and moths, which I shared before here, and now this one will be joining, and I'm really happy about it. Maybe you're not aware, but I really love painting fish. I don't know why. I find them very fun to draw and to paint. So when I saw this book, I immediately got it. and it's from the same collection of the previous one, so it's the same style of book. As you can see here, you have images of different type of fish with numbers and the names down below, and they all have this lovely vintage style illustration, which I find very, very appealing. Look at the color scheme on this. I find it so nice. I, for example, don't like too much to use opaque watercolors and pastel watercolors, but I find this effect very nice. You draw the fish, you paint it with like realistic colors, and then you use this type of pastel color for the background. It looks very appealing to me. This one's a bit more warm color scheme. I really enjoy looking at these illustrations. Look at this lovely color scheme, blue, red, orange. I would like to try and reproduce some illustrations using this type of color scheme, a bit warmer or sometimes a bit cooler, trying to reproduce the exact same colors and see how to transfer these in watercolor. I think it could be a nice exercise to do, to reproduce this in the same color scheme. And then once you've done it, you can always go wild and try a total out there color scheme. Use neons, use metallics, you know, you can just be creative. I think I've seen this fish when I was in Greece. It's a very funny fish. It has the two eyes on the top of the head and stays flat under the sand, so it moves like this under the sand, so its eyes are on the both on the same side of the face. It's quite a unique type of fish. Yeah, so I have many different type of fish, and here again, like I said, you have all the explanations with the numbers and the names at the end of the book. So these were the books that I got to join my list, to join my collection of vintage reference books of natural history illustrations. I hope you liked this video. I hope you haven't missed it too much, or maybe you did. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think of the video, if you like this type of video, if you like also to flick through vintage books. And yeah, it's very good to be back. I am happy to be sharing things with you here again, and I'll be here back soon to share more interesting things with you. And I hope you have a nice week ahead. Thank you for your support, and see you soon. Bye.